Good evening, everyone. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, be advised that a notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board in Town Hall and forwarding to the officially designated newspapers that this meeting would take place at the Milburn Education Center at 7 p.m. on November 12, 2025. Meeting details and the draft agenda were also posted on our Township website. Please stand to salute the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I roll call, please?
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Here.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Here.
Mr. Sacramandi,
Here.
Mr. Stoller,
Present.
Mayor Romano.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So.
May I have a second? All in favor? Okay, may I have a motion to approve the October 7, 2025 regular Township Committee minutes?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? May I have a motion to approve the October 7, 2025 special Township Committee minutes?
So.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, reports, committee meetings,
This is buzzing,
something's buzzing.
and that happened during the planning board, and we ended up just shutting off the system. If Zoom
Everyone's-
can pick us up without these, maybe we
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, that's gonna.
Okay.
I think everyone was shut off.
Is everybody?
Everybody's-
Everybody's, yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Yeah.
shut off.
Oh, there.
It's buzzing normally.
Hey, committee meeting Cosgrove, would you like to start?
Wait till he gets. Yeah. Good. Yep. Thank you, Mayor. So, yeah, I'd like to give a report from the Historic Preservation Committee, the HPC. Their November 6th meeting, there was a group of township residents who actually want to self-designate their neighborhood as historic. So it's a wonderful thing. It's something a little new, actually. The section of the town, so everyone knows is what's called, is the Woodfield Estates section. It's actually the original homestead of the Taylor family in town. It's an area that's actually north of Parsonage Hill Road, bordered on, I guess, the western side by Del Barton, and on the right by Woodfield. There's 54 properties located in the district, 26 are contributing, 28 are non-contributing. There's a November 2025 report that was prepared by Barton & Ross, who's the township's historic consultant. That may already be posted on the site, on the town site. If not, it will be tomorrow. So I invite people to take a look at that. That's got it's a weird shaped, chunk of land, so you may want to look at the borders of it. I encourage all of you to review it. There's a lot of more specific details on the boundaries, and the homes are actually identified in the report. Please also let your friends and neighbors know about it in case they might be interested in that. This type of designation is in keeping with the town's master plan goals, including preserving historic research and resources, as well as protecting the character of neighborhoods, to name a few from the town's master plan. I hope the other members of the TC here could say that they support this effort. I do recognize that there will be need for further public outreach on this. Thank you.
Do you have any other reports, or we're going to discuss that, or?
Seems like there's some guidance needed, so I fully support that. I think when residents get together and decide to self-designate their neighborhood, who are we to stand in their way? So.
Mr. Sacramandi, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we're having.
The mics are down.
Oh, the mics are
Yeah,
down.
that can pick us up with that. So what I was saying, anytime residents want to get together and decide they want to self-designate their neighborhood, I mean, that's a great thing. That's them choosing what they're doing with their neighborhood, so I fully am supportive of that.
Mr. God, do you know of you said 50 odd houses, about how many people signed that petition? to do this? I mean, but, give or take.
I don't have the exact number. I know they were following,
38
oh,
or so.
do you know?
Yeah, I don't.
38 out of
It
50.
was in the 30s. It was.
So will the people who did not sign and agree to it, are they gonna be pulled into it?
Well, so what would happen is it would go through the process where there'd be a hearing and then the ordinance that we have applies. So if there were a certain threshold of them that were opposed, they could file a opposition letter. And then it would require a 2/3 majority of the TC in order to designate.
I've been up there. I have a friend who lives up there. Her house is beautiful. I agree. They should be historical. I don't want to see any of those torn down in the middle.
Yeah, I support it. I mean, 30, if it's, 35 out of 50, that's a pretty hefty, percentage. Of course, the other people, I'm sure there'll be some.
As long as there's an avenue for them to.
Yeah.
They have, there'll be hearings, there's
Right.
all the stuff we have in our ordinance.
As long as the entire section is aware and public conversation about it.
Yeah, they'll have to receive the, we'll get the official letters, right now, right?
Anything else? Committee,
No, thank you.
Committee, second?
Sure, so for the EC, the EC passed a resolution recommending that, we eliminate fees for landscaper registration. Landscaper registration is something new we put in place, after we passed the, seasonal restriction on our leaf blowers. I guess some landscapers reached out to the EC complaining about the fee. I don't remember us ever discussing a fee, so I'm not sure where did we?
We voted on it.
Oh, did we? Okay. I mean, I personally have no problem with waiving that fee. Since it's advantageous to the town, to the landscapers to register so that we know how to contact them. But that is a resolution they passed along. And then they also passed a resolution encouraging the TC to look into the feasibility of purchasing the old Exxon station and turning that into a pocket park. I think that's something that we were already looking into. So that's the update on the EC. Planning board, nothing really remarkable to report on that.
Committeeman, Stoller?
Sure. Recreation Committee, there's a coaches meeting for rec basketball on November 17th. They need more volunteers, so if any of you guys are hoopsters, they could really need some help with the volunteers for the coaches. Special Improvement District, we're gonna have a presentation later, which I'll introduce. And then, Explore Millburn Short Hills is excited to kick off the 5-week effort to support all local businesses during the most busy time of the year for the holiday season. Make sure everyone goes onto their Instagram and Facebook for a series of social medias, including a takeover by local business, Viv Infusion, which will be in multiple languages. It's a campaign for foreign languages of all about shopping local and what we have to offer in our town. And there's also going to be a special raffle on Black Friday for local shoppers to be able to pick up opportunities to win that raffle by shopping locally. And then the S'more Shopping Winter Village, which was really big last year, is on December 6th and 13th at Town Hall Plaza. Nothing really remarkable on BOE. On the Board of Education, please drive carefully as everyone is getting their footing, continues to get their footing. Joint Facilities Commission, there's going to be a public information session regarding the proposed high school field improvement joint project with the Board of Education on Thursday, November 20th. At 7 p.m. at the, is it confirmed?
It's not confirmed.
Not confirmed at the Millburn Library. Okay, so I'm waiting for.
We're hoping to get the information out tomorrow.
So we'll get that out tomorrow. Okay. But that'll be a good session. Had a meeting today on the Mountain Valley Emergency Communications Center to go over some logistics and some personal matters. That was nothing really remarkable to discuss. Open Space Tax Fund. We're actually going through the final touches of the matrix rubric to assign some values to projects. We actually did a number of different mock projects to see how it comes out, whether it's in what our expectations would be and how it works through. So that's working itself through the, I guess, the belly of the snake. On affordable housing, I'll defer to council, and that's pretty much it.
Deputy Mayor?
Sure, well, the reason the meeting won't be at the library is because they were installing parts to fix the elevator and it run into some problems. So now they have to have a new part that has to first be manufactured. So the library elevator will not be, which was supposed to be available already by now, will not be available for at least another month, and hence the meeting will have to find another home. This segment covered the planning board. Yeah, it was just one minor case of the Pilates studio on Morris Turnpike expanding into the store next door to make their studio bigger and have more capacity. And then at the zoning code subcommittee, there won't be anything coming out of that committee this year any further because it would take too many meetings to approve something. But the committee is still working on improving the zoning code with respect to definitions of things like different uses, what a change in use would actually mean, and a more robust definition of medical office. Since we have many properties zoned that way, we want to make sure that, and as that industry continues to evolve, make sure that we're comfortable what goes into those sites.
Thank you. Mr. McDonald?
Just two quick things. One is on the agenda tonight is the supplemental road projects. There will be another essentially 10 streets. These are streets that are easier to be done, don't require as much curb work or other work, drainage or otherwise. That we are looking to try to complete prior to the end of the year. And if not, then it will certainly go into the spring of next year when the weather breaks. But that information will be put under the township's current projects page on the website. Some of the roads are Meeker, which was the one street in the Washington section that did not get paved. So that is one of them. Puritan, Hamilton, South Terrace, Oxford, Wordsworth, Garden Court, and Cedar Street between Wyoming and Sagamore. So those are some of the roads that will be done with that. Also wanted to let the community know that, and I've seen a lot of I guess questions or chatter about it, but the township was at one point under a energy aggregation program. That program is ending, and everybody will be converted back to their JCP&L account, so there'll be no longer a third party that's providing your electricity supply. If that's something that the committee desires to explore further in the future, I think we have to go through the whole process all over again, which includes passing an ordinance, becoming a part of one of those aggregation groups. And I think it's a larger discussion, but that program will end. Nobody is being dropped from JCP&L. Nobody's losing electricity coverage. It is simply that you had a third-party supplier through IDT. Now your electricity supply is going back to JCP&L. Everybody still has the option to go and get their own third-party supplier, but it will no longer be an aggregation program.
And if you had signed up for that surcharge for green energy, since JCP&L doesn't offer that, that's over as well.
Correct. Yep. But we will also, we're working on just getting a bit of information out on that, just so that's clear. That's it.
Mr. Cantor, do you have anything?
Thank you, Mayor. I always like to keep the public updated on our fourth round fair share housing. We had our first mediation session today. As the public may recall, we had a letter put in by Fair Share Housing Center, which wasn't exactly, they considered not to be an objection, but informational purposes. We also had an objection put in by RPM, who is a developer of the proposed developer for the 9 Main Street site. And their objection solely involves the 9 Main Street project. That's in our third round, so no new developers have objected to our fourth round. We met with with a retired judge. We spent some time, and there's really nothing else to report other than negotiations are ongoing.
The only thing I have no reports, but just the free parking is coming back, mid to late December.
Start on Thanksgiving.
So that's right after
November
Thanksgiving, yeah, right after Thanksgiving. So the parking rates still apply, but you do not have to. The parking time still applies, but you don't have to. Okay, special report, 2025 best practices inventory.
Yes. Yes, so the township completed its best practices report. We scored a 41 out of 43.5. The best practices inventory is the state's annual checklist that reviews, financial practices, administrative compliance, record keeping, transparency. It also breaks things up into, weirdly best practices, core competencies, and unscored survey questions. They're not all in one order. They sprinkle in unscored surveys throughout the document. But we did score a 41.5 out of 43, which keeps us safe as far as our state aid goes. I think if you score anything over a 32, you do not, your state aid is not impacted. Some of the questions that we said no to, particularly those scored questions, is when we did a note sale, we did not do a disclosure because it's about a $15,000 expense. And we maintained our AAA rating without going through that process. Certainly, if there is something done in the future that's a larger amount, we will end up having to do that. The other thing is that our health insurance broker procurement, we didn't do it as a competitive contracting, we did it as an RFP, which we did with a flat fee instead of a percentage of premium, which is the best practice. But we answered no to that because we did it through a request for proposal. And so again, scored very well on the best practices. Some of the unscored surveys, some of them had to do with the lead paint requirements for the township. I will say that this is an area that we do need to touch on. We had done it a little while through New Corporation to help out those that own a home that is built prior to 1978 and is rented. And you're supposed to have a lead safe certification of that home that you're renting that was built prior to 1978. New Corporation was providing that service. We will be looking to put out a concessionaire's bid that will allow us to have a company, be that service for Millburn and for Millburn's residents that it applies to. However, nothing precludes a homeowner or someone who owns a rental property from going to any of those companies that are listed on the state's website that do this lead safe certification. But it is an area that through the unscored survey we did find that we need to address.
Can try to do better. Also, I forgot to mention in the niche high school rankings, we got the #1 high school ranking in Essex County and number 12 nationally. So that's impressive by the best public high schools and teachers.
Okay, so the 2025 best practices inventory, that's resolution 25-240. Are there any comments from the committee in regards to resolution 25-240? May I have a motion to approve resolution 25-240? May I have a second?
Second,
Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen?
yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
Mr. Sacamandi?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller? Mayor Romano? Yes. Thank you.
Public comment. When invited to speak to offer your comments, please come to the lectern, clearly state your name and whether you are a Millburn resident and or property or business owner. Please do not provide your full address, seeing our meetings are recorded and readily available to the public. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all to be heard, speakers shall limit their comments to 1 3-minute session. You will be prompted when there's 30 seconds remaining. A reminder that this is not a time for dialogue or to debate a matter, and this is a time during our business meeting for the public to offer comments. I will now open the public comment period.
Richie Seibert, resident. So landscapers still have to register but they don't have to pay any money to register. Do they still have to register? Or do they don't have to register at all? That's my comment.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Jeff Fell. I'm with the Poets Center for more than 30 years. As my custom, I submitted a heads up letter, exhibits to the council, and I hope it's incorporated in the minutes. I don't want to go really through them, but to focus on the best practices inventory. Again, I ask you to post, like when we go to the finance page, maybe post the last 5 years that the public looks at all these questions. There's questions about pilots. We're gonna have a pilot at 9 Main Street. And the question is, will we satisfy those questions about the monies and the going to the county? I don't think we have, because of how we're forced upon us. There's gonna be the introduction of the budget. Mr. Cantor in his report did not report back about the hearing that occurred on October 29th. We're still waiting for the judge to enter various orders so that case can proceed. It's interesting that the township provided an omnibus proposed order. And I believe that it was under your direction of the TC to put that in, where I had submitted various other proposed consensual orders, and they weren't entered. But at the end of the hearing, Judge Spencer, like other judges, said, it suggested that you control the statute. And in February, you created a subcommittee to analyze the SID ordinance. You have not reported back. And I think the community should understand what is the finding of the committee, because interestingly, when you were talking about the historical preservations designation of a certain neighborhood, you said you needed a supermajority. You're going to subject a group of people. In August of 2020, when the SID ordinance, amended SID ordinance was superseding ordinance was adopted, you did not have a supermajority to approve that ordinance. You recall it was a 3-2 vote, and there was always questions whether Tara had a conflict of interest. And I just caution you when you're acting this, there's always been questions, you know. As to the bond ordinance, I think we do be up with the introduction. Yes, you put a supplemental debt statement in, I mean, comment was amended, but I think the public should understand why we need additional monies, what those monies are going to be for. And as to the salary, like from 2025 to 2029 range, if you can give us, identify what are the current payments that people are receiving in 2025 and how many different people, because this helps us when we go to use it from the budget to understand how you position, because it's very unclear about police officers, what ranks are. I know my time is up.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Austin Barron, for Hills resident, for 28 years. First of all, regarding landscapers, this would be required to be licensed and insured. I don't know whether the registration requires that. I haven't seen it, but for sure, it's important that the employees of landscapers be properly covered, that their trucks and things be properly insured. And that may not be the case with some road landscapers. So in the registration process, the requirement should be to have them licensed and insured. Now, in February 2024, a plan was proposed to reduce the probability of flooding in the downtown business district to less than a fraction of a percent. A year later, in February 2025 of this year, a detailed request for quotation write-up document was put together and submitted to forward that plan one step further and solicit bids from engineering contractors for implementing that plan with the hope that downstream communities could also be asked to participate in funding that plan. This community should be appalled that this committee is considering a $3.5 million expenditure town hall reservation, but could not come up with approximately $400,000 to fund a study to virtually eliminate the possibility of flooding in downtown Louisville. So, I just see it as a misplaced sense of priorities. We could spend $7 million on the paper mill playhouse, we can renovate town hall. Yes, those are needed, so is flood mitigation, and no money is appropriated. Sad.
Thank you. Anyone else? One on one.
Hi, good evening, Perry Urso. I have a quick question. I wasn't there during reports. I just want to know if Mr. Cosgrove or Attorney Cantor had spoken about any reports or mentioned during their reports about the October 29th hearing, that we were all present, he was present. And based on what the attorney said, basically it was like her last sentence, I'm wondering if Mr. Cosgrove had the opportunity to bring his that comment to the TC. It's very unfortunate that this is where we are today. We've heard over and over again about mediation. No mediation occurred. Going back in 2020, I was not afforded the opportunity to speak with our now chair of the SID, former mayor at the time, and former deputy mayor did not afford me the time to speak, as they did afford other people offline to discuss any issues that we have. I think it's very important that TC members should be willing to talk to people if they have any questions or concerns, or certainly objections, because that would eliminate a majority of the lawsuits. Hence, here we are 5 years ago today. I just think it's really important. It's very disheartening that we were not afforded the same opportunity. However, I am in the process working with the Milburn Police Department, because not only did I was not afforded the opportunity to be spoken to, but there was a harassment complaint against me, which is actually being corrected now as we speak. So it's very disheartening that people would take the extra effort and file a harassment complaint when you have no idea that it's being filed. And now, multiple years later, we're going there to try to correct the record. And also, I wanted to ask about the the review. Has anybody reported on the review of the SID ordinance? I think that should be spoken about and discussed in front of the public, so the public knows where you're thinking, because you're going to, in the next few minutes, going to be hearing about a SID budget. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. I will now close public comment. Committeeman Stoller, would you like to comment?
Sure. So, Mr. Seibert, I believe the fee was waived on the, no?
No, it's 200. I can give, let me get the information on the ordinance, and then you guys can speak. So I just looked back, it was ordinance 2714-25. And it was a license requirement for commercial landscapers. And it said no one shall engage commercial landscaping without first obtaining an annual license. The exemptions are residents providing casual part-time services without the use of commercially registered vehicles, and landscapers working on public property. Just to address some of the questions as far as requirements. In order to get a registration, they have to provide their name, proof of insurance, vehicle license plates, numbers, and proof of insurance. So I know there's an insurance question. The current fees are $200 for annual registration fee per business, and $50 annual registration fee for businesses using electric leaf blowers only. So I think just bring the committee back. There was two reasons to have the fee. One was to encourage electric leaf blowers because we had the $200, the $50 fee. And I think secondly, just the administration costs involved in keeping the registration intact. And I don't know what those fees would be on the municipality, but certainly if we wanted to put a provision in for waiving fees, it would be an ordinance because we have an ordinance. So to change the ordinance, we could do that. We could also put in the ordinance in the future that these fees may be changed by resolution to make it less onerous in the future. But currently it's $200 per business if you're using gas powered leaf blowers and $50 if you're using electric only. Just so everybody has the background.
Thank you.
And then, second, for Mr. Gambara, you know, I'm on that flood mitigation committee. You know, I agree, we should do as much as we possibly can. We're not choosing projects and excluding other projects. So I don't want anybody to think that the town hall reservation is taken away from flood mitigation. It's just not. We can do both. We can do the paper mill, that and plus build, whatever we need to do. The question is, how do we get there in an efficient manner? And I wholly support everything you're doing as well. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being on this flood mitigation with me this year. It's been really helpful, you and Rod.
Deputy Mayor, would you like to-
Yeah, I was just gonna talk about the landscapes, but Jared covered it. I think Mr. Simon might have thought that because the environmental commission came out against it, that meant it was over, but it doesn't, it has to come back before the township committee.
Can we have a second meeting?
Sure. So yeah, on the registration fee, the EC made a recommendation that we eliminate the landscaper registration fee. They have no authority to do anything with that fee other than make a recommendation to us. I think that now that it's been explained, this committee ought to consider waiving that fee for the first year. And I think that we should also put language in the ordinance that would waive that fee, that the fee could be changed by resolution in future years, because we may want to reevaluate that. I think since this is the first year that we're doing it, maybe it makes sense to waive that fee. And I really would want to get a sense of what the actual cost of the township is to administer this program, because I feel like it's probably an Excel document and someone punching some stuff in. So I don't know that a $200 fee is necessarily warranted. But if there's someone else on the committee that feels that way, maybe we can get something going in the next meeting, because we have a limited amount of time to make ordinance models for the year, because ordinances can't be introduced in 1 year and then carry over to the next year. So we would either need to introduce the ordinance at the December meeting and then pass it at the subsequent meeting, or it would have to wait until January. Let's see. Mr. Feld, you asked about the findings of the SID subcommittee. I believe that on the agenda for our next TC meeting, we'll have something under new business to discuss those findings. I think one of the challenges has been some of these lawsuits surrounding the SID have, sort of impeded progress on this, because there's a certain level of unknown. But now that I think those decisions have been rendered, hopefully we'll be able to discuss it in the next meeting. Mr. Gambara, you mentioned there was a request, I guess, for equipment. I think that that's something we should definitely pursue. I'm in support of, if there's money that needs to be spent, wisely to measure the problem, or to help, determine whether various solutions are going to be feasible, then that's probably a worthwhile investment. So I'm certainly in favor of revisiting that. Let's see.
I would just want to add to that, though. I would expect that just as the environmental committee had an opinion about the two things they had an opinion on, I would have expected to see some kind of memo from the flood mitigation committee making a request for that study. And I don't know that I've seen it.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point that Deputy Mayor Cohen brings up. It would probably be helpful to have an official resolution from the flood mitigation committee outlining exactly what it is that they would like, what the projected costs are, because then that's something tangible that the TC can take and, action. So if, I don't think that's happened, we would have heard about it, so, I would advise that happened at the next, flood mitigation. That's all I have.
Committeeman Cosgrove?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll chime in too, that I'd love to see, the proposal for from the flood mitigation committee. It's something new to me, but, I'm sure it's out there, but I haven't seen it. And on the SID, I do agree with Mr. Sakamundi that we will discuss that at the next meeting. Thank you.
The only thing I want to add with the landscaper licensing is maybe offering some type of an early bird discount so that we could put it into play now. Just something to think about.
That's something to think about, but I agree wholeheartedly that we should waive it year one. That, our
Right.
job's not to tax these guys, it's to understand that they're in our town, understand the safety issues surrounding it, the insurance issues. I think somebody mentioned insurance issues and such, not to put undue burdens on them, financial burdens on them.
I mean, if there's one more member of this body that agrees with that, then we can try to get the ordinance in before the end of the year.
I haven't heard from any landscapers, so. And no one complained about it to me.
Can I just ask a question?
Go ahead.
Regarding that, is there no ability for the township committee to pass a resolution, sort of, or direct us to, not collect the fee at this point? While work on the ordinance, because again, I think timing is tight, so, if there's an ability for us, I mean, I was asked the question the other day.
So-
and I told the forester to just, right now, we have to collect it, but, and we can always refund people if that's the process, but, that takes place.
You think we could, so if we could wait, what I would suggest is a resolution directing you not to collect fees, introducing the ordinance that night and saying that, we believe that this ordinance is gonna pass. So we're directing you not to collect fees based on the fact that we're gonna be adopting the ordinance. So technically, the resolution can't contradict the code, but I wouldn't have an issue with the resolution directing your department not to collect fees, introducing the ordinance that night, and the governing body would adopt it the next meeting. So basically accomplishing that task.
Do we have any sense of the number of landscapers that would be registering? Because, I have no idea what that is, but if it's, 20 times 200 is $4,000. I can't imagine implementing this program that costs $4,000.
Well, we also had light fees to generate revenue too. I mean, you can-
And in addition, I think also that part of the registration is also so that it is also part of the seasonal restriction, which is also something that the township needs to enforce and be a part of. So I think that it's not just one or the other, like we're not just collecting fees just because we want to register landscapers, but it's also as a result of the additional actions and enforcement that are going to take place when it comes to the leaf blower restriction.
So if there's a consensus, I'll draft a resolution and an ordinance for the next meeting.
Is there a consensus?
I'm good with that.
I'm in favor.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Someone else.
That's fine.
I got four.
For the first year, while we're still balancing, figuring this out.
And the ordinance will have a provision in that we can adjust the fees by resolution going forward.
Okay. Mr. McDonald, do you have anything else? Do you have anything from public comment?
None unless the committee has any questions for me.
Okay, the township committee will now consider consent agenda resolutions. Are there any comments from the committee in regard to any items listed on the consent agenda? May I have a motion to approve resolution 25-241 through 25-251, which are listed on the consent agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Cullen.
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove.
Yes.
Mr. Sakamandy.
Yes.
Mr. Stoller.
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are there any comments from the
Mayor, I'll
committee?
just point out that we just passed resolution, approving a closed session for immediately after this meeting, so just so the public knows that after this meeting, we'll be going to closed session. But there'll be no further action taken by this committee following that closed session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are there any comments from the committee in regard to resolution 25-249? May I have a motion to approve resolution 25-249? May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
Mr. Sacramenti?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
All right.
Mayor Romano?
Yes.
Thank
Committee Stoller?
Okay, okay, so I have had the task for the last 2 years of, I would say task and I would say privilege of serving as the Township Committee Liaison to the Explore Millburn Short Hills Board for the, I'm continually impressed by all the work they do and the organization's impact on our local business community. Not only through the major events, Town Hall Plaza, projects, et cetera, and how they roll up their sleeves to help small businesses, from all types of financing to websites, to everything else. The day-to-day support is critical for the businesses in our community. This evening, we have just introduced Jackie Lieberberger, she's the board chair, board secretary Richard Wasserman, and the executive director Steve Brillo to present and review the first 3 quarters of 2025, along with a blueprint of services that are going to be offered in 2026. In addition to strong key performance indicators we've put in place, and they will highlight in the presentation, I'm very excited about the year ahead. We have a number of different things happening, including the World Cup festivities, which are going to be fantastic, watch parties, et cetera. And then we also have an innovative AI, social media and shopper engagement program. The AI is red hot right now and it's really driving a lot of conversation, discussion around our businesses. I think we're going to be one of the, probably see the initial townships to offer this program. So, and you can explain what AI is later, everyone. All right.
Once I figure it out.
Yeah, all right. All right. Tanya?
This doesn't work.
No.
Okay.
Uh,
I've been accused of a lot of things, not soft spoken, so. Good evening, members of the Township Committee. Thank you for your time and courtesy this evening. Before we begin, just want to give an update on 5 new businesses that will be joining us. Urban Scoop is in the final inspection at the Footer property. Strong Pilates Millburn, it will be coming where the professional audio consultants up by Footnotes. That is the same owners of Sweat House that is in the Metropolitan. Dilly Millburn, which will come into the common lot space. That's a high-end New York City-based Indian cuisine restaurant that will be joining us. Peel Juice Bar is next to Charles Schwab right off the corner. Guacamole Mexican restaurant is in the old mariachi space. They'll be online very shortly. And Craft and Mill Barbershop, which will be coming into the old Cubic House, which will be a high-end retail experience or service experience, I should say, men's barbershop. Okay, so thank you for that. Explore Millburn Short Hills serves as the district management corporation for the Township Special Improvement District. We represent more than 520 businesses and over 160 properties across 5 commercial districts. Explore is one of approximately 100 SIDs in New Jersey, and we have the distinction of being one of only 27 communities that is a Main Street, New Jersey designation. That is the highest level of recognition for a SID that can be received by the state of New Jersey. This evening, the board will consider the organization's 2026 budget. The process began over the summer with staff and executive committee reviews, followed by discussion at a workshop meeting last month. If approved tonight, the budget will be forwarded to you, the Township Committee, for introduction this evening and a final vote on December 16th. Once adopted, the assessment roll and collection process will begin, the first quarter of 2026. Okay, I don't know if you and TC can see this, I don't know if the public can, but if you come share the seats in the front, you're certainly welcome to. 2025 is a year of achievement and significant milestones. And it was highlighted with significant growth and achievements for Explore that celebrated our 5th anniversary, of which we are very proud. Some key accomplishments include hosting multiple signature events, Restaurant Week, Girls Night Out, as well as activating Town Hall Plaza as a vibrant public space with dozens of events and live music performances. The plaza created a community gathering place for our diverse town residents, as well as other members of the ancillary community to enjoy. We launched a new event, the Upper Milburn Avenue Block Party, which attracted over 1,000 attendees and showcased the vitality of this important commercial corridor. Our Main Street, New Jersey designation enabled us to secure a grant of $150,000 for sidewalk improvements on Milburn Avenue in partnership with the township. This investment represents a tangible enhancement to public infrastructure and improved accessibility and appearance in the downtown. We also manage our 2nd season of sidewalk maintenance, graffiti removal, weeding with a private vendor, which was primarily funded through the township's Clean Communities grant. In August, we achieved a major league victory with the resolution of Bear Properties civil case in our favor. Hopefully now we will be free of the Oprah requests, numerous meetings with our attorney, and challenging budget hearings due to the specter of the case. I'd like to now introduce Mr. Grillo to continue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Tim, if you go to the next slide, thank you very much. So Ben mentioned key performance indicators, KPIs. As Explore continues to grow, we're increasingly using data to guide our decision-making and our budgeting process. And KPIs play a significant role in that effort. And they really serve for the foundation of informed and strategic and really measurable outcomes. So in terms of economic development, I know that this chart is somewhat small. As of this evening, our storefront commercial vacancy is at 3.9%, with the downtown performing even stronger at just 1.7%. This is well below the industry average of 5%, which I think reflects the strength and appeal of our multiple commercial districts. We currently have over 520 active businesses, including 27 new openings this year. Parking meters in the district, and I always think this is a very interesting thing to track, but look at it quarter over quarter, year after year. Parking meters have generated $360,000 in revenue in the first 3 quarters of this year. That's an increase of $32,000 over the first 3 quarters last year. So more people paying these meters to shop in our 3 metered communities. Additionally, we have the benefit of over 300 hours of volunteer service. That includes the Mamas and Minis of Milburn, as well as the Milburn Native Plant Group, among others. Go to the next slide, Tim. And as of tonight, we've handled as a staff 260 business assistance requests. So those are businesses, residents, potential new tenants calling us up and asking for various assistance. 38% of that 260 have been for marketing, which includes the business onboarding. So all those folks that Jackie just mentioned, they get an onboarding package where I sit down with them, we go through all the necessary items, and then we usually follow up with a social media training with one of our staff as well. 18% are for resources, including grant programs, attending webinars, and other educational assistance. And 11% are for introductions and networking to various members of the community and businesses. So it's a fairly diverse array of service. Next slide, you could look at vacancy over time. So we look at storefront vacancy. As you can see from this chart, back in June of 2020, when the CID was established, there was a 16% commercial vacancy. It then declined to sub 5% in March of 2023, and it's essentially held static there for the last 2.5 years. Due to some of those recent occupancies, the rate is now 3.9%, which I mentioned, which matches our record low from October 2023. So even though there's obviously economic hardships that many small businesses are facing at the moment, we have a very, very strong commercial base and a very low vacancy rate, especially compared to many other communities. Next slide, please. Social media is a huge aspect of our work. So the end of September, we had 3,646 people on our email distribution list. That's an increase of 629 people since the end of last year. We've shared over 4,300 pieces of content on Instagram. And we have over 800, actually, as of today, we have over 900,000 views on our Instagram page this year. We've also gained 1,000 new followers this year alone on our Instagram. We have 5,100, 5,200 or so. Next slide, please. Then we also track our Instagram followers over time. What I think is really interesting, if you compare us to the other 28 Main Street programs in New Jersey, our Instagram is ranked 8th in total number of posts and 14th in total followers. But when you look at the groups that are newer, like we are, there's 11 of those. We rank first in the total number of posts and second in the total number of followers. So of the newer, more emerging groups like ours, we're actually leading the pack in social media. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Richard, who's going to talk about how we're going to develop our program that we are seeking budget funding for.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, committee members. We have broken our budget into the 4 Main Street American pillars: design, economic vitality, promotion, and organization. To begin with design, we have a plan to rebrand Explore with new banners, signage, and our website modernization. We also plan to complete the Milburn Avenue sidewalk project, perform our usual seasonal plantings, continue our street cleaning efforts, and launch a new signage called More to Explore to connect cultural and recreation site users with the business district. Finally, we have applied to Essex County for a grant to develop a 5-year public art master plan. Next slide, Tim. We will continue to work with the town planner and boards to address zoning and regulatory issues, update ordinances on abandoned properties and business signage, and simply the zoning review process to attract more diverse mix of businesses, including restaurants and medical uses in the downtown area. In terms of business modernization, we plan to partner with local digital media firms to develop a business owner-driven online directory, also a shopper feedback app, and other AI-based tools. We are expanding outreach by partnering with the local Chinese community, sharing business promotions in 3 WeChat groups with over 500 members each. Upcoming special projects include pursuing Film Ready New Jersey certification and conducting a regional economic comparison study. We also plan to seek Main Street New Jersey funding to replace the downtown speaker system with a modern Bluetooth system similar to downtown Denville's. Some of us will remember the holiday music that used to play in the downtown during the late 90s and early 2000s. That's something that I always used to think about. Next slide, Tim. We're going to shift our events in 2026 from large-scale community events to more business revenue-driven events. This includes a shop and stroll series, which will feature events including a drop and shop, parents' night out with free childcare, a back-to-school shopping extravaganza, summertime tag and sidewalk sale, and a new focus on existing events, including Girls' Night Out, a trick-or-treat pumpkin spice stroll, and some more shopping igloo stroll. We plan to launch a World Cup promotion to draw foot traffic to the town, which will feature a Shop the World campaign, a shopping passport program, a food promotions, including a World Cup to-go menu and viewing party catering packages. Finally, we're going to create a concierge document for visitors at the Paper Mill and Short Hills Hilton, and a business awareness calendar which will help local businesses plan for cultural and holiday events and their associated shopping trends. We are also excited to announce that for this holiday season, we're launching a new marketing campaign which will feature social media videos in multiple languages developed with AI technology. The messaging to shop local in Millburn Short Hills will be delivered in English, Spanish, Ukrainian, Chinese, Hindu, Portuguese, and of course, Korean. So that's something we're very excited about. Tim, next slide. The final Main Street America pillar is organization, which in 2026 will include a focus on expanding on our volunteer pool and developing both a board recruitment plan and an executive director succession plan. But I don't think we're gonna let Steve go so quickly. We will also continue to serve on various local committees, including the Millburn Development Review Committee, Parking Ad Hoc Committee, 250th Anniversary Committee, and the Office of Emergency Management Committee. And with that, we're going to ask Steve to take the helm.
Thank you.
Well, the good news is this is going to be the shortest part of the presentation. The budget is essentially the same as the one that this body passed last year. There's a very minor increase to cover some operational costs, but I'll keep this very brief. So in general, the 2026 budget is very similar to last year's. The total budget is $408,491. We then allocate $20,000 to a contingency line for unforeseen expenses. So we actually only budget or intend to spend $388,491. So the total income is approximately $15,000 more than last year's. But the special assessment is only scheduled to increase by $6,400 across the entire district. Of the $388,491 spendable budget, 65% of that is derived from the special assessment that the properties pay, 15% from the township's mandatory portion of the executive director's compensation, and 14% from the requested discretionary funds from the township. Things like the Clean Communities money to clean the streets and the World Cup. Staff compensation represents 52% of the total spendable budget. Non-staff compensation and operations is 9%, and services is 39%. So those are your events, your street cleaning, etc. The special assessment is projected to increase by 0.002% to a rate of 0.089% of the assessed commercial value. Based on the average property values from this year, which of course will change slightly, the average assessment across the entire district, all 5 sub-districts, will be $1,576, which is an increase of $40 for the year or $3.33 a month. On the revenue side, the 2 changes of note are, and they are minor, is the increase in the assessment that I just discussed of $6,400 and an additional $7,500 that we're going to carry in unspent funds. That was part of the contract for marketing services with Black River Design Company. Amanda, who worked with us for a number of years, left to pursue another position in another town. And so we have a little bit of funding left over that we're going to put into the next year's budget. On the expenses side, we have a small number of expense increases. My compensation goes up $2,000 per my contract, but only $1,000 of that actually comes from the assessment. The other $1,000 is from the obligation from the town. We anticipate a $1,000 increase to our legal services contract, which Mr. Stoller brought up at our last meeting, which has been used quite a bit this year. So the $1,000 increase we feel is very fair. We've also broken out the Main Street America line for the first time. We didn't have a Main Street designation when this budget was passed last time. So there's a cost in there that covers travel and lodging to the annual conference next year with the other communities from New Jersey. And then finally, we're increasing services by $5,000 for events, live music, marketing, and digital media. And then we're going to invest an extra $4,500 above this year in streetscaping and plantings. So, as I said, not a particularly exciting budget. It's essentially what you passed last year, but we're certainly happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, so given the town hall renovation where that will be next year.
Yeah.
So what are the plans for the summer? due to that renovation?
Sure, so it's a two-part answer. It's an excellent question. The first part is we're gonna relocate the live music performances from Town Hall Plaza to the courtyard, which is behind Coffee Mill Roasters, and all those buildings where the fountain is. I've already worked with Mr. McDonald on the logistics there. There'll be some minor improvements that are needed, overhead lighting and things like that. We'll have to make sure that we have ample electric, but for the most part, we've already programmed that space with 30 chairs and tables. And it's actually a very popular outdoor dining area. So what we've done is we've reallocated the $30,000 that the town had provided us for the Town Hall Plaza for this year and put that towards running a World Cup program. So we're asking basically just for you to switch the use. We don't think there's gonna be much of a cost when it comes to the live music, so we've asked for that to be reallocated to serve for the World Cup, which of course only happens once every 4 years and once every 30 years in the United States.
So that's an addition, and we'll still have the concerts then?
Yes, you'll have a full music slate. It'll certainly change a little bit. I mean, it's a much smaller space. There's already dining, so I think it'll probably be more of a jazz and kind of light music type of experience, but we'll also work with the rec department because we have a lot of great bands that would love to play. Maybe we can expand the rec department's program in Taylor Park where that music might be a little bit more appropriate. But there will be a full slate of summer music that we've already budgeted into our budget line.
It's not incremental.
Right.
What was the question?
Yeah, I'm telling them it's not incremental, it's a dual, we're splitting those funds between the two different programs.
No, that's not correct. Because the cost of the summer music programs are gonna go down so significantly, because we don't have to build out Town Hall Plaza, we've just put that already in our events budget. The 30,000 we're asking for is what you gave us last year for Town Hall Plaza. We just wanna use it instead for the World Cup.
That's my point, it's not gonna move.
Right, yeah. It's a little, just wanna make sure it's
Yeah.
clear, yeah.
Anybody have?
We're not asking for any more funds.
That's what I'm.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. I appreciate all you do. It's been a fantastic year.
Thank you all so much. We've got plenty of work to do the rest of the year. We work late in December,
With the
so,
holiday season.
yeah, you'll see us in our igloos.
Thank you.
And we appreciate your support.
Thank you.
The public hearing and consideration of adoption of the 2026 budget is scheduled for December 16th. The December 16th Township Committee meeting, which begins at 7 p.m. here at the Milburn Education Center located at 434 Milburn Avenue in Milburn. The introduced budget is available in the Township Clerk's office and will also be posted on the Township website. Once the annual assessment roll is certified by our tax assessor, letters will be sent to each property owner within the district, and the full roll will be posted on our website. The annual assessment roll will also be scheduled to be before the committee at a future meeting in early 2026. Is there a motion to approve resolution 25-250?
I move that resolution 25-250 be approved and the township clerk be authorized to have the budget notice published in accordance with law, and that the public hearing and final passage be scheduled for December 16th, 2025. Township committee meeting beginning at 7 p.m. at the Milburn Education Center.
Is there a second? Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Sacramandi,
Yes.
Mr. Stoller,
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2723-5. Just refer. Okay. I would like to present an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2723-5. Bond ordinance to appropriate additional sum of $3,500,000 for the town hall renovation and an addition project in, by, and for the township of Milburn in the county of Essex, New Jersey, to make a down payment to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such additional appropriation and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. I move that this ordinance be taken up and passed on first reading, and that the township clerk be authorized to have the ordinance published in accordance with law in the item and for hearing and final passage on December 16th, 2025. Please be advised that the public hearing of this ordinance will be held at the Milburn Education Center located at 434 Milburn Avenue in Milburn. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Sakamandy,
Yes.
Mr. Stoller,
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano,
Yes. Deputy Mayor Cohen, you are scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2724-25.
I would like to present an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2724-25, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the Township of Millburn, Chapter 4, General Licensing, Article 4-39, Vehicle Towing and Storage Services. The purpose of this ordinance, from what I read, it was to raise the fees for towing in line with market conditions. I move that this ordinance be taken up and passed on first reading, and that the township clerk be authorized to have the ordinance published in accordance with law in the item and for hearing and final passage on December 16th, 2025. Please be advised that the public hearing of this ordinance will be held at the Millburn Education Center located at 434 Millburn Avenue, Millburn.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Sakamandy,
Yes.
Mr. Stoller,
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano.
Yes.
Thank you.
Committeeman Sakamandy, you are scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2725-25.
I would like to present an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2725-25, an ordinance to amend and supplement the development regulations and zoning ordinance of the Township of Millburn, Article 5, Design and Performance Standards, Section DRZ 525.3, Stormwater Control. The purpose of this ordinance is to repeal Section DRZ 525.3 entitled Stormwater Control and replace this section with the current NJDEP statute governing stormwater control. Additionally, this replacement will set a factor of safety of 2 related to stormwater runoff quantity and recharge standards. This change will double requirements for stormwater runoff quantity and recharge standards for non-residential major developments and redevelopment projects and aspects of residential major developments and redevelopment projects that are not preempted by the residential site improvement standards at NJAC 5:21 sequence. I move this ordinance be taken up and passed on first reading, and that the township clerk be authorized to have the ordinance published in accordance with law in the item and for hearing and final passage on Tuesday, December 16th, 2025.
Please be advised.
You need a second. You need a second, right?
Oh, I thought there was more in the
Yes.
sentence. I'm sorry. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Sakamandy,
Yes.
Mr. Stoller,
Definitely.
Mayor Romano.
Yes. Ordinance 2726-25. I would like to present an ordinance entitled ordinance 2726-25. Ordinance revising and supplementing the salaries and salary ranges of offices and positions in the classified and unclassified civil service positions of the Township of Millburn, County of Essex for the 2025 to 2029 year. Purpose of this ordinance is to amend the salaries and salary ranges of offices and positions in the classified and unclassified civil service positions of the Township of Millburn for the years 2025 to 2029. Some ranges are established by collective bargaining agreements with unionized employees of the township. Additionally, some agreements do not extend to 2029 and will have no salary range shown for that. You want to add anything?
No.
I move that this ordinance be taken up and passed on first reading, and that the township clerk be authorized to have the ordinance published in accordance with law in the item and for hearing and final passage on December 16th, 2025. Please be advised that the public hearing of this ordinance will be held at the Millburn Education Center located at 434 Millburn Avenue, Millburn. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Sakamandy,
Yes.
Mr. Stoller,
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano.
Yes.
Thank you.
Committeeman Stoll, you're scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2718-25.
Okay, so this is the final reading. I present for consideration an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2718-25, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinance of the ordinances of the Township of Millburn, Chapter XXI Abandoned Properties, Article 21-1.2, Inventory of Abandoned Property, Registration of Property Owner. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend Article 21-1.2, Inventory of Abandoned Property, Registration of Property Owner, specifically subsection H3 which is a registration of property to increase registration fees and a renewal of registrations for abandoned properties. These changes to the registration fees will reflect the increased cost of the township to administer the ordinance and register properties. Additionally, the increased registration fees will assist in addressing the economic impact that abandoned properties have on the community, particularly those that are renewed several times through this process. This ordinance will see initial registration and each subsequent renewal indicated in the ordinance increase threefold. It should be noted that this fee has not been adjusted since 2016. The township will also add a section as it relates to the maintenance of listed abandoned properties. Tonight is the time set for the public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with the law.
I declare the hearing open.
Good evening, my name is Jeffrey Phil, I live in the poet section. You got basically 3 or 4 comments on this. First, since the first reading, has this ordinance been amended? Is there anything corrected in this ordinance? Next question is, when we were here, when it was introduced, there were questions in newspaper articles about various properties that were reportedly on the abandoned property list. Pursuant to, I got Oprah, there's only 6 properties that were listed. 2 of the properties that were being highlighted were on this list. I think those property owners are entitled to a public apology, being deemed to have abandoned properties that are not on the list. And the next question is delegation of authority. Why are we delegating the code enforcement to a non-city employee? Why is the city executive director, who is not a city employee, given the authority to make sure you enforce and execute code enforcement, especially on properties that are not located, commercial properties that are not located in the city?
Anyone else? Is anyone on one?
No answer.
I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with law.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Sacramandi,
Yes.
Mr. Stoller,
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano.
Yes.
Thank you.
Committeeman Cosgrove, you're scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2719-25.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the final reading of this as well. I present for consideration an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2719-25. It's an ordinance amending and supplementing the Township of Millburn Development Regulations and Zoning Ordinance. Tonight is the time set for the public hearing and final passage, as advertised in accordance with law.
I declare the hearing open.
Just put something on the record. Again, I'm Jeffrey Feld. I believe at the last planning board, they made recommendations. And I don't know if those recommendations were transmitted to the TC and how you're gonna handle it. There was a question at the planning board that they found it was not the master plan compliant, but there was issues about recommendations and how that would be handled. Will you be going back to amend based on the, because there was a pretty big heated discussion on certain little points on that. Thank you.
And
Close.
do you want to close public hearing? Okay, so there's no more. I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading, and the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with law.
We'll take a second on the other discussion.
Okay.
For a second.
Second.
So I'll just briefly answer Bill's question is, we do have the memorandum from the planning board, and those recommendations were considered by the township committee as required by law. I'll let anybody speak as to going forward as to.
Sure, and so this was discussed at the planning board meeting, which I would not categorize as being heated or contentious. I think it was very calm and civil. And what we had discussed is there's sort of two ways we can handle this. One is if the recommendations were deemed by our municipal attorney to be minor and material, then the changes could be made without having to reintroduce the ordinance. I believe our township attorney has deemed that the changes are more than, just typographical changes, therefore they would be substantial, and that would require reintroducing the ordinance. So it wasn't the intention of the planning board to hold up the adoption of the ordinance. And we actually talked about in the future ways we could streamline so that things didn't go back and forth and the planning board would have an opportunity to at least comment on the ordinances before they went to first reading. That's something that we'll do going forward. But in this case, I think what we, at least my preference would be, let's pass the ordinance and then we can follow it up with a supplemental ordinance, making any necessary changes. It's unclear if those changes that were proposed should actually be implemented. So that's something this committee needs a little bit more time to discuss and decide. But I see no reason to hold this up as the recommendation.
I was at that meeting as well. I agree with what Mr. Sacramento said. It was not the intent to hold this up. It was not a heated discussion. And I would like to pass it as is and then let the committee next year, whoever they may be, reconsider it with those changes.
Anyone else? Can I have a second? Do we do it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Roll call vote.
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Sacamandi,
Yes.
Mr. Stoller,
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano.
Yes.
Thank you.
Committee Ms. Sacramento, you're scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2720.
I present for consideration an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2720-25, ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Milburn awarding the lease of ground space and approving the Township of Milburn entering into a lease with the winning bidder for ground space to be used in connection with the construction and operation of a small wireless facility on a portion of the property located at block 1602, lot 2, also known as 15 Chatham Road, Township of Milburn. Tonight is the time set for the public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with law.
I declare the hearing open.
I move this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed final reading in accordance with law.
May I have a second? Second.
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Sacamandi,
Yes.
Mr. Stoller,
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano. Thank you.
Ordinance 2731-25. I present for consideration an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2721-25. Ordinance amending chapter 7 traffic of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Milburn. The proposed amendment of chapter 7 traffic code of Milburn's general code is to establish several recommendations of the Milburn Police Traffic Bureau and the Parking Ad Hoc Committee. These changes include the adjustment of parking on Old Sugar Hills Road across from Milburn Middle School, adding stop signs to West Road, Essex Street at Milburn Avenue and the intersection of South Terrace and Hobart Road. In addition, 15-minute parking will be added to Whittingham Terrace. Tonight is the time set for public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with law. I declare the hearing open.
Osman Vera, resident of Milburn Short Hills for over 28 years. On several occasions at past meetings, I raised the question of handicap parking. I did not hear that that was addressed in the current codes. I noted that the two handicap parking spaces, I don't know what the lot number is, but behind the old movie theater there, were in the furthest location from Milburn area that they possibly could be instead of the closest. There's only one parking space by the Dunkin' Donuts in that lot, where there could easily be another one adjacent to it. There's one by Basilico, and there's one by the clock tower. There are none that I could observe on Chatham Road. It does not seem like this community pays proper attention to designating handicap parking spaces. I had need after a recent surgery to avail myself of those spots and I couldn't find them. So I just hope you've included that in the traffic code. If you can address that before you vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with law. May I have this?
Can we just address that? Yes.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
So as it relates to handicap parking, one is that, it is not my impression that particularly as it relates to the lots that it needs to be codified, those lots can be established and parceled up however we deem necessary. The difficulty with on-street handicap parking is that, it is only for handicap parking. So I think there has to be a much more sort of robust investigation as to where that parking should take place, and how that should be allocated, because that space will, at times, sit empty, if there is no, need for it. Which is why you find most of them in parking lots, plus the in and out of, handicap spaces in a parking lot is much safer, than on-street handicap parking. If there's a difficulty getting out of the car and you're dealing with traffic and opening the door, so. But it is something that we can we'll take a look at as it relates to the lots. One, to make sure that we have the adequate number, and if there is any additional need in those lots and the location of those spaces, that makes sense. Certainly lot 4 which is the one behind the movie theater, is a difficult lot in and of itself because the spaces are so small and narrow in that lot. And certainly, anything will be addressed when we do any refurbishment or reconstruction of parking lots as well.
Yeah, the feasibility, so I understand the idea, the desire, but handicap parking has certain requirements to it. So oftentimes you'll see, for example, at the town hall, the handicap space has an empty space next to it, and that's to allow someone in a wheelchair to be able to safely exit the vehicle. Now, if you're parallel parking, and your exit is out into the street with oncoming traffic, that might not be the smartest of ideas. Also, the curbing, depending where it is, may be a hindrance. So I think that the reason that we find the spots at the lots, as Mr. McDonald alluded to, is the conditions there are safer. So, while it's something we could look at, I think at this time, I can't think of space, along the street that would currently make sense for handicap parking. It's something we can look at in the future, I suppose.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Sacramandi,
Yes.
Mr. Stoller, Mayor Romano.
Yes. Deputy Mayor Cohen, you're scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2722-25.
I present for consideration an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2722-25, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the Township of Milburn, Chapter 3, Police Regulations, Article 3-8, Construction Activity Mitigation. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend Article 3-8, Construction Activity Mitigation, to clarify when construction activity can take place and by whom, with the intent of this ordinance revision to ensure that homeowners have the ability to perform work at their homes or permanent residence on Sundays and legal holidays, but that no redeveloper, paid professional, or hired contractor shall engage in construction activity in the township on Sundays or legal holidays. In addition, further clarification requirements for the placement of a temporary construction fence to ensure compliance when large additions or demolitions take place on the property. Tonight is the time set for a public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with law.
I declare the hearing open. No one on there?
I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to publish this ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with law.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
Mr. Sakamandy?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
Definitely.
Mayor Romano?
Yes. We have no matters for old business and no matters for new business. Final public comment. This public comment period is to allow for final comments from the community. When invited to speak to offer your comments, please come to the lectern, clearly state your name and whether you are a Woburn resident and or property or business owner. Please do not provide your full address, seeing our meetings are recorded and readily available to the public. A reminder that in order to help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all evening out, speakers shall limit their comments to 1 3-minute session.
Jeffrey Phil, the poet section. 4 minor points. First, happy Thanksgiving to the community. We won't be seeing each other till beginning of December. Everyone enjoy the holiday with your family. Also remember giving money to various food banks for people that have food insecurity during the season. I noted today that Chatham Borough passed a resolution against a proposed ordinance, state law taking away zoning powers regarding density and height restrictions that they're afraid is going to be passed during the lame duck. And I just bring that to your attention that we followed their lead because we've been like in round 4 that we maintain our own rule powers over density and height restrictions. I'm still trying to find out the status of the round 3 appeal of declaratory judgment. Because on the docket, it doesn't even show, I'm talking about the trial docket, it doesn't even show the notice of appeal. And I have not really known whether a notice of docketing has occurred for that because when we were there, I think beginning in October, I think Judge Russo said he was going to amend the order to attach some exhibits, and that's not even happened, so I don't know where we are there. I just ask you independently to confirm and verify certain facts that was said by Mr. Grillo. I think the community should know whether the Main Street, New Jersey application, the boundaries were restricted by the state. I believe we have evidence of that. Also, the question of whether there's a mandatory perpetual payment of 50%. There's a question because during on October 29th, there's a question whether that's really a discretionary payment. But I think you should also look at best practice inventories from past years as to how they describe SIDS and the locations of that. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Ben Barra, resident of Northwood Hills. First, I want to thank Community of Sacramento for your proposal of ordinance 2725-25 for stormwater control and for the unanimous vote in favor of that. I think that's a big step in the right direction of controlling the stormwater. Second, I just want to note, a year ago, I gave my personal contact information to Mr. Grillo and advised him that myself and Ms. Christine Vest would volunteer our services to study advancing the concept of the river walk. I know that was brought up. I thought it was a pretty popular concept. He never contacted me back. So if he's trying to do the right thing for the community, follow through. Thirdly, when you talk about the flood mitigation advisory committee, please don't neglect the word advisory, because I don't think it should be there. Because I've used my 53 years of engineering experience and expertise to advance some proposals, and there seems to be a gatekeeper that and I get reminded we have to control our costs, we have to take baby steps. The next big storm is just around the corner. we're renovating the Paper Mill Playhouse, $7 million. We're renovating Town Hall. We're fixing the entrance to Taylor Park, and beautifying that, and it's all gonna get washed away in the next storm. But we can't address that. We have to take baby steps. So, you know, I think if you wanna call it a flood mitigation committee, call it a flood mitigation committee, but I'm pretty tired of advising, using my 50+ years of engineering experience, and getting reminded that we have to scale back what we're doing. Do we really wanna scale back flood mitigation in this town? So, and yet you allow residents, non-residents, to continue on the committee and to publicly rebut me. So if I'm wasting my time, tell me I got something else I can do with my time, honestly.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone?
We have one online.
Hi, thank you, Perry Urso. I just wanted to correct the record that I believe I mistakenly spoke and said that it was an attorney that had stated that this could be a matter that should be taken care, litigation matter that should be handled at the TC. It's brought back to the municipality, and I think I said attorney and I meant to say the judge. It was actually, and I think Mr. Feld corrected the record for that. So I just wanted to make sure. Also, I just wanted to be clear that, again, we were not afforded the opportunity to be spoken with privately or at a round table, trying to discuss our concerns in 2020. We suggested that, you know, give us the opportunity so our attorneys could be present. It was stated, why do we need our attorney? Hence, 5 years later, here we are. Again, we've had judges that stated that you should be mediating, not litigating. There was a settlement offer without a counter. So it's very disturbing to hear. And then all of a sudden, the judge on October 29th says that this should be handled at the municipality. Mr. Cantor was there, Mr. Feld was there, myself, and Mr. Cosgrove. I believe that you stated that you were going to discuss the the SID review at your next meeting or sometime in December. And just wanted to clarify that. And also, I did try to get on earlier, but the ordinance that you just passed for the abandoned property, I just wanted to make sure that, is it within the guidelines of the contracts within the SID board? Is it within the SID ordinance? So I just want to make sure everybody on the board that you all passed that unanimously, that in fact, you've read the contracts, read the SID ordinances. That particular code enforcement was brought up at the March 14th, I think, 2024 meeting. The SID board actually was with displeasure about having another code enforcement. I do remind this board that we do have a code enforcement officer and we do have a part-time code enforcement officer. And I think, you know, giving the another responsibility, you're taking services away from somebody that's on the SID board and from what they're doing. So, or is this part of a job description or the way the township can kind of get other services for their 50% of the executive director's salary? I did notice that he's on the DCR committee because he was on present during a recent meeting that I had. And now, most recently, now you just pass this ordinance. So if you could just answer those few questions, I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you.
That is all.
No, close public comment. Committeeman Secretary, did you want to respond?
Sure. So, Mr. Feld, we are aware of the pending legislation that you brought up. I believe the legislation is concerning properties owned by religious institutions, and the bill would allow for those religious institutions to turn that property into affordable housing, and it would do away with local control on some level. It's a particularly terrible piece of legislation. It adds densities of up to 40 units an acre, and you know, potentially single-family neighborhoods. So that's something that we are all aware of, and we'll be taking action at the next meeting to do some sort of resolution opposing that, as some other municipalities have started to do. So rest assured, we are on top of that. I would encourage members of the public to contact their state senators and state assembly men and women and let them know that that's something that they don't want if they have strong feelings about that. You know, there's only so much we can do to advocate for the town, and we will do our part, but it would also be helpful, you know, anytime a resident contacts their assembly member or their state senator through official channels, there's an entry that gets logged, and, you know, the more people that oppose something or support something, it gives members of our assembly more ammunition to either support or oppose, you know, that legislation. Let's see. Mr. Bambera, with regards to the gatekeeping on flood mitigation, you know, I think that hopefully tonight we've made it clear that the Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee, and it's called an advisory committee because there are certain committees that are formed and under state law, and then there's certain committees that the TC forms, and those are generally advisory in nature. Advisory is I think has a special designation to it. There's rules that surround advisory committees versus something like the EC, which is a statutorily required committee. That said, I think what we had said earlier is it'd be helpful if Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee has something that they would like from the township committee, they'd like something purchased or considered, et cetera, do a formal resolution as other boards do. That'll then get submitted to the TC, and that would bypass any, you know, gatekeeping that may or may not be occurring. And then, you know, we'll get it as a TC and be able to decide what to do with it. So I would imagine there's a whole bunch of stuff that you guys have wanted. Put that in a resolution, and you know, we'll have a formal way to consider it, and it won't get lost in the shuffle. That's all I have to say.
Committeeman Cosgrove?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Cullen?
I have nothing to add.
Committeeman Stoll?
No, I would just second, you know, the legislation on the development of houses of worship is a particularly bad legislation, and they're gonna try to ram it through. So I do think everyone should take the, or has the ability to contact their local official and voice your concern, because it is gonna be a big issue, especially in a lame duck session. Now, first time I heard about it was in my mayor's meeting that we do once a month, whereas I'm township committee person, but there's a lot of towns that are concerned with it, and it's better to be proactive than try to be reactive. So thank you.
Mr. Karen?
Sure, I guess I'll briefly address Bear Properties just to clear up some, I think, misinterpretation. What the court said was they dismissed the lawsuits of Bear Properties 1 and Bear Properties 2 because there is no legal basis to challenge the ordinances what were passed. What the court said was, and giving no opinion on the substance of the ordinance, if you don't like what your town council is doing, which they have every right to do, you can come to a meeting and discuss, as you do a public comment, what your view is on the city. The court did not ask this particular committee to reevaluate the current CID, just the fact that we're allowed to adopt it as we did, we're allowed to move forward with it, and you shouldn't bring these as lawsuits. What you should do is go to your elected officials and have conversations with them. So that was for clarification. It wasn't directing this township committee to take any action, but certainly for anyone in the public to express any concerns they have.
Mr. McDonald, do you have
Yeah,
anything?
just one point of clarification as it relates to the abandoned properties ordinance. There is one section that is regarding the first floor windows and their coverings, when they're abandoned in a commercial area. That gives the executive director of the Special Improvement District or designated committee, you know, the ability to approve those treatments, because obviously they add or detract from the aesthetic of the commercial district. It is not a sweeping sort of authority to them throughout that maintenance requirement section. And of course, I understand we have a code enforcement officer, but also when there are areas that can alleviate some of the other burden that they have, great. And I think that's why that was applied there. That's all I wanted to sort of clarify on the abandoned property.
Just a very limited particular
It's-
circumstance.
It's literally, commercial properties will be required to cover first floor windows in a way that will maintain an aesthetic quality of the building and surrounding area and increase safety. Such treatment shall be approved by the executive director of the Special Improvement District or a designated committee of the Special Improvement District. That's it. That's the only spot in that, all of that maintenance that applies that.
Thank you.
Just so everyone's clear, city director is not handling code enforcement.
It's not getting a badge and walking around town
Right,
and
right,
enforcing
It's a
code.
very limited, limited.
May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yeah, we're not adjourning, we're going to
Oh, we're
close.
going to.
But we'll be adjourning after our closed session, but no further action will be taken by the committee. There'll be no further public participation.
Have a good holiday, everybody.
We'll be adjourning from our closed.